Leathers and textiles both have their own set of pros and cons, but which material should you go with when buying your first set of gear? Here are a few important things to consider. The first is price. You can usually find textiles for a bit cheaper than leathers. A set of textiles might cost you something like £200 for a cheap set, whereas the cheapest set of decent leathers I could find were about £300. If you're on a really tight budget when buying your first set of gear, I would go textile. Bear in mind that if you go too cheap, you'll probably find level 1 armour instead of level 2, and jackets might not include back protectors. You can buy these separately though and put them in your jacket, even if it doesn't come with one. This is something that I recommend doing, or if you're looking to buy a more high-end set of textiles, this GTCE set from RST will cost you around $230 for the set. This comes with a level 2 armour all around, and is probably about the most protective set of textiles you can get for the price. Next, protection. I'm going to use RST's GTCE set as an example since they make the exact same thing but in leathers and textile. Comparing these two sets of RST gear, both come with level 2 armour in the same places, back, elbow, shoulder, knee and hip, and this is really good at this price point, making them some of the best value sets if you're on a budget. However, the textile jacket is CEA approved, whereas the leather set is CE AAA approved. AAA is the highest rating you can get, whereas A is pretty much the lowest level you can get. You can get B rated, but that's for gear that doesn't have any impact protectors, like armoured shirts and things. So for a piece of gear that has impact protectors, A is basically the lowest rating you can get. This means that the leathers will perform a lot better in areas such as abrasion resistance and seam strength. CEA is typically fine for urban riding, but if you're going to be doing a lot of high-speed motorway runs, you might want to look into something a little bit more protective, such as the leathers. If you plan on going on track, you are going to need a set of leathers. You can't do that in textiles. The CE rating is something really good to look at when you're looking at the protectiveness. As you can see, it's not just a case of where it has armour and if it's level 1, level 2, because there's other things that will be taken into account during the CE testing. So in terms of protection and safety, leathers are going to do better than textiles. For your first set of gear, one of the biggest things to look for is versatility, and nothing really beats textiles for this. They usually come with removable thermal liners to keep you warm in the winter, but they can be taken out if you get too hot during the summer months. Personally, I take mine out and leave them there because I can layer a hoodie or something underneath. My leathers fit a bit too snug to fit a hoodie underneath, so I save those for warm and dry weather. In terms of rain, you can get fully waterproof textiles that have Gore-Tex and things, but most are at least water resistant. Leathers tend not to be waterproof since they have holes in them for airflow, meaning that you won't really want to wear them in the rain. This is the single biggest reason I'd recommend going textile over leather for your first set. When you get a bit more experience, you can buy specialised summer and winter gear like I have, but when you're first starting out, you're probably going to want something that can carry you through your first few seasons of riding before you upgrade and get some more specialised gear. So in my opinion, it's better to go textile first, unless you plan on doing a lot of high-speed motorway runs and things, and in dry weather. I recommend textiles because they tend to be cheaper, so you can maximise your budget and get a really nice set, rather than skimping out and getting a cheap set of leathers. Also, if you decide that bikes aren't for you, you haven't spent all your money on a set of gear. Being able to ride in all kinds of weather is perfect. When you first pass your test, you're probably going to take your bike everywhere, and you won't want to have to skip out on a ride because your gear isn't waterproof or warm enough. You'll also learn what you like and you don't like about your first set of gear. You'll notice what's uncomfortable and what doesn't work for you, so that when you buy your next set, you can be a little bit more informed. A good example for me is that my first jacket didn't have any kind of adjustability around the waist or the cuffs, so I knew to look for this in future jackets. Textiles are more or less all season, since you can layer them up in the winter and take the thermal lining out in the summer. If your primary concern is safety and you have the money, you can go for leathers first. Just be aware that you might have to buy some waterproofs to go on top if you ride in the rain a lot, and you might not have enough space to wear a hoodie underneath it on cold or windy days. For most of my riding, CEA approval is fine, since I usually ride around 30 to 40 mph in normal city traffic. But if you're riding faster than that on motorways or dual carriageways, you'll probably want something a little bit more protective, so look for a AA or AAA rating. Leathers really aren't the most versatile set of gear though. If it's too hot, you're going to find them really hot, so I would recommend starting out with a set of textiles, and then maybe treating yourself to a nice set of leathers further down the line. I bought my first set of leathers about 4 or 5 months into my riding. But let me know what you guys wear and what you prefer, and what you would recommend getting for your first set. I'd be really interested to hear. Safe riding, and I'll see you guys in the next one.